Baskin in to talk about Middle East director of the International Communities Organization. And Gershon has been on the show a number of times, a former hostage negotiator for Israel. It's always good to see you. I want to right away put up a tweet that we referenced from you on our show yesterday. One of the reasons we wanted to talk about all this with you today. And you said statements by the Prime Minister that Israel will kill the leadership of Hamas do not help the negotiations on the release of the hostages. And you say this was also told to me by an Egyptian intelligence officer. So the question here at the end is what I want to get into. Is Netanyahu trying to sabotage the negotiations to prevent a deal because any deal would include ending the war? Expand on that. Sabotage from Netanyahu.
Well, we got this evening the response from Hamas on the deal that was proposed from the Paris summit. The head of the CIA, the head of the Mossad, the head of Egyptian intelligence, the Qatari prime minister. Hamas' response was overall positive, but they need to discuss the details. For Israel, what Hamas said is that Israel must end the war and withdraw its troops from Gaza, allow additional humanitarian aid into Gaza, and basically, from Hamas's perspective, leave Hamas in control of Gaza, which is a non-starter for Israel. Now, it's very clear that Netanyahu wants to prolong the war, at least till he has what they call the victory picture. And the victory picture would be either the killing or the capturing of the Hamas leadership. And until that's done, Netanyahu is not interested in ending the war, even if it means that all the hostages who are alive would be brought back home. Netanyahu wants to keep this going so that he fulfills his promise to the Israeli people that he will finish Hamas off after he is personally responsible for the atrocities committed by Hamas on October 7th.
So you think he's trying to sabotage the deal? Those are strong words, but that's what you think.
I think it seems that he is more interested in continuing the war than in ending it, and he's more interested in continuing the war than negotiating a deal with Hamas that would lead to an extended ceasefire or an end to the war. This seems to be his top priority. And most political pundits agree that Netanyahu has a built-in interest to continue the war because as soon as it's over, he's going to have to face the consequences for what led to October 7th, the demand for a national commission of inquiry, which will bring him to task and force him to take responsibility.
You said, as you said, there was this deal on the table for quite a while from Hamas, and we finally heard back today. Now, what did you think of their response? Because I watched President Biden earlier today say something to the effect of, "Oh, it seems like I was a little over the top," I'm paraphrasing what the president said. But what stood out to you by what Hamas said about the proposal?
Well, it seems Hamas is holding fast to their demands, which are very difficult, if not impossible, for Israel to accept. They said, yeah, the framework of the Paris proposal is acceptable, but we demand an end to the war, an Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, increase of humanitarian aid, and a prisoner exchange, without detailing that their demands have always been, since the beginning of the war, a release of all Palestinian prisoners from Israel in exchange for all the Israeli hostages.
Right.
Now, we know that the 136 hostages are not alive. The Israelis are saying today that less than 100 of them are alive, and the number could be even smaller than that.
Last topic, I'm sure you saw the report citing Israeli intelligence. We'll put the numbers up on the screen that a fifth of the hostages in Gaza are dead, more than 32 of the 136 hostages. First of all, your thoughts on that report, and second of all, given your experience, any message at all to the families who are still holding out hope? Matter of fact, we have a family member coming on the show later this hour.
Right. 29 of the families of the 136 hostages have been informed by the Israeli officials that their loved ones are not alive. The number 36 now that appears is a new number. And what I'm hearing behind the scenes that the number is even larger. This is what was known from the very beginning. And I've been saying since the very beginning of the war that every day these hostages are left in Gaza as a risk to their lives, either from the Israeli bombing or from executions by Hamas themselves. And this is what's happening. And this is why Israel has to bring them home as soon as possible if we don't want to have 136 bodies to bring home.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.